Spring is here. Riding a motorcycle doesn't call to everyone. It carries a level of risk that is anathema to most. It demands a level of competence, a degree of engagement that is unusual in today's society. But like an old craft, the skills and the wisdom necessary to be successful at it doesn't come quickly, but it emerges slowly over time. Most people today simply don't have the patience or the inclination to deal with that sort of thing. But for those of us who do, to that tiny minority who are drawn to it, the rewards are immeasurable. For us, riding imbues life itself with color, tinges it with adventure. It connects us to a time when people weren't perhaps quite so shy about how they lived. A time when everything wasn't a careful, exacting calculus of risk and reward. A bolder time when a fear of getting hurt didn't stand as an impenetrable shield to the simple enjoyment of life. So yeah, those of us who ride are definitely different. But it's a good difference. We carry something that once was common, but now is rare. Something of the distilled essence of what got us all here. We are the last wolves in a land of sheep. We are the rebels, living and loving life in full.
Welcome to Indian Motorcycle Radio, and I'm your host, Reverend Ken Blanchard. This is the show about Indian motorcycles and the people that ride and love them.
Hell of an intro, huh? I'm back, fellas. Not quite sure how long I'll be back, but I am doing much better. Still got some bugs out to fix in my personal life. My wife is doing a whole lot better, and I appreciate you checking on a brother, just like you always do. Being a caretaker sucks, straight up. And now I'm dealing with my own personal issues from being the one taking care of all the medical stuff, the daily bills. It's just the stress. And I'm glad that spring is here. That means we can get our knees in the breeze. Can I get an amen, somebody? Let's talk about getting your bike ready for the spring. For riders that travel in states that lay down sand or gravel on the roads during the bad weather, this sand and gravel piles up in the exact worst place that could be for us, in the corners. So ride with particular caution during the spring riding season. Riders also need to keep in mind that just because it's been above freezing for a few days doesn't mean the roads of ice and snow are free. Differences in elevation, shadows on the road, and regional weather differences can result in slippery road conditions when you're not ready. And even if the road conditions are perfect, never forget that the most common cause of motorcycle accidents is them damn cars failing to see us that result in collision. So as a rider, make sure you're aware and expect this every time you encounter another car on the road or truck. Now, if you're smarter than the average bear, you know that everything that I talk about is for all motorcyclists. So please, pay attention. Even if you ride something else, I'm cool with it, as long as you're on too. Ready for some tips? See, the key to low drama spring motorcycle mechanical preparation actually starts back in the fall by preparing your bike for its winter hibernation. Some people didn't have to do that because they live in cool places. But here on the East Coast, man, we had to do a whole bunch of stuff. Steps like draining the gas tank or treating the fuel. That's what I do. Placing your battery on a trickle charge. That's what I do. And taking steps to avoid tire problems as your motorcycle sits. That's the basic stuff. But whether or not you've taken those steps, I got some stuff for you to remember to help you next time. Now, there's tons of stuff on the internet about how to do things better. Check them out. But keep in mind that there can be some very long waiting lists in the spring to get your motorcycle worked on. So plan ahead and you'll be able to ride more. Here's a couple of things you want to check out. Check out your battery. Check out your charge level. Check your connections. Look for corrosion. Check your tires. The cold weather makes the tire pressure go down. Check your tread and your sidewall condition. Look for flat spots, especially if you've been sitting on concrete. Brakes. Check your fluids. Signs of fluid leakage and proper operation. Speaking of fluids, check for stale fuel. Oil change as necessary. Check your brake fluid and your coolant if you have that in your bike. Check your cables and your controls. That's the brake, the clutch, the throttle cables, and levers and grips. And just do a general safety thing for all your gear. Clean your helmet shields, your goggles, check turn and brake signals and your headlights. Got it? See, it's easy. I don't know where you are in the world, but I got a list of some cool places to ride in case you're in that area. And if you know of a good place to ride, please let me know. Send me an email to kenblanchard@gmail.com. And that's KEN.BLANCHARD@gmail.com. I got a big list here. There's about 20 things on it, maybe. Let me know if I'm right or wrong on this one. And if you like the show, if you want to support me, how about buying me a coffee? buymeacoffee.com/motorcycles. All right, first on my list is Highway 106, Ellington to Houston, that's southern Missouri. It's a 65-mile route in southern Missouri along Highway 106. It'll take you through multiple conservation areas and among some pretty spectacular spring scenery. How about the Farm to Market Roll, 149 in Texas? Just north of Houston, it's a highly rated Texas motorcycle road known as Farm to Market Roll, 149. This ride goes through the southern edge of the Sam Houston National Forest with its majestic pine trees, and then eventually the scenery turns to hilly farmland and the open fields covered in bluebonnets and Indian paintbrush flowers during the spring. Let me know if you've been there. Texas has a couple of cool places, like there's a Texas Twister northeast of Austin, the Lizard's Tail Part 1 just west of Dallas-Fort Worth, and the Ride to Hard 8 barbecue place over in north to Fort Worth. Also check out the Arkansas Pig Trail. It's Arkansas 23. It's northeast Arkansas, and one of the most popular motorcycle roads in Arkansas, and all the U.S. for that matter. It ranks 9th as most popular. How about Paris to Waterloo on the splendid 688 in Virginia? It's just west of the Metro D.C. area, a little known yet highly rated motorcycle route known as the Splendid 688. The road supposedly takes you through some quintessential farm and cottage areas and offers some nice gentle curves. But you might want to be careful because it's narrow, unstriped, and has some rough sections. But according to those who have been there, I'm yet to get there. It's a nice ride. Let's go down to Florida. North Tampa Circuit, west of Orlando and northeast of Tampa. The North Tampa Circuit is a very popular motorcycle road in central Florida, and it's noted for showcasing rural roads, which is hard for me to say, back roads, that wind through ranch land and orange groves. By the way, another Florida route is in central Florida, the Highlands along Route 17, aka the Scenic Highway. You ever rode the Death Valley Run, Nevada and California? Now, normally a great motorcycle road don't start with the word death, but this one is supposed to be an exception. The Death Valley Run lies just west of Las Vegas, Nevada, and extends into California and through the Death Valley National Park. Desert landscapes aren't for everyone, but this route seems to be pretty cool. However, the spring, the scenery perks up a bit as the wildflowers appear and give the eye more color to take in than is a usual desert ride. I think Route 40 starts around there too, and I have been on that one, but I might be wrong. Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee, you've been down the Natchez Trace Parkway, and it's one of the most famous and well-traveled long-distance motorcycle roads of the South. It's a 400-mile Natchez Trace Parkway, which starts out in southwestern Mississippi, travels up north and through the far northwest corner of Alabama, and then ends just south of Nashville, Tennessee. And if you time it right in the spring, you'll see the redbuds and the dogwoods along this all-American road. How about in western Montana, the wonderful 141? It's a lovely, lonely motorcycle road called the wonderful 141. It's known for its emerald green grassland in the spring, its gentle sweeping turns, as well as its scarce traffic levels. How about you fellas up there in southeastern Washington? You ever rode Steptoe Butte? It's in southeast Washington State, just south of Spokane, and it's a short but sweet 16-mile route that's especially beautiful, supposedly, in the spring. Let me know if you've been on that one. There's also the Carbon River in Highway 165 and Washington Highway 261 in Palouse Falls. Let's jump back onto the other side of the country to Route 10, Walton to Deposit. That's in New York. Now, winter can take its time leaving for the year, especially in the Northeast. But for Route 10, Walton to Deposit, it's a New York route. Riders in the Northeast will want to check that out as soon as the snowy roads are out of the picture. And by the way, a couple of other highly regarded spring motorcycle roads in New York are the Mohawk Towpath Scenic Byway and the beautiful, I'm not sure how you say this, Kukla Lake Road. And a little bit closer to home is the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's one of the most popular motorcycle roads in the entire U.S. In fact, the fourth most popular on the motorcycleroads.com top 100 most popular motorcycle roads, the Blue Ridge Parkway. But wait, I got some more. If you're in California, the San Diego Highway, S2, it's another desert ride that make the list. It's supposed to be a good place to be, which was nice in the spring. How about the Quartzsite Yuma Loop in Arizona to California? In the southwest corner of Arizona and extending into California is a 191-mile loop called the Quartzsite Yuma Loop. I know you guys got some pictures of that. If you've been on any of these jokers, please let me know. Up in New Hampshire, they got something called the Camagus Highway. It's supposed to be really nice up in New England. Or just a kink. Yeah. It's like a 35-mile mountain ride. Let me know if you've been on the kink. And my last one for my list here is in southern Ohio, the Greenfield to Aberdeen on SR 41. It's a remote little motorcycle road east of Cincinnati. State Route 41 takes you through Amish country on a winding road down to the Ohio River and through some areas that are known for their spring wildflowers. So to aid in your planning to that, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources hosts an Ohio wildflower tracking website that gives regular reports of wildflowers throughout Ohio. You know, if you like flowers and stuff. Because it's spring, baby. Here's a cool quote about flowers in spring. It says that happiness held is the seed, and happiness shared is the flower. Whoa, that's some deep stuff, right? I know. One of the things I've been doing during my wife's recovery and me being a caregiver and trying not to lose my mind, when I wasn't able to ride and not able to ride, I'm playing my guitar. And I've become a guitar repair guy too, by the way. So I got a new company, just started January of this year, called guitarcare.co, guitarcarecompany.com. And there's an outgrowth of that. I'm going to create something special next year.
If you're in the Washington metropolitan area, that means Northern Virginia, Washington, D.C., and Maryland, and you're a bass player, a guitar player, acoustic and electric, can you imagine a room with about 100 of us? One room, somebody's giving a seminar on a topic that only we care about. In another room, there's a siphon going on. There's a live jam session going on. There's like 5 guys and ladies with guitars and basses on stage, and they're just cranking it. I don't know whose amps they are, but it's loud and it's fun in there. Then there's a room where there's vendors, and people are selling everything that we want to see and touch and contemplate spending some good hard money for. The whole event, 8 hours of guitars and basses and fun. There are local celebrities in the room. You'll find instructors, future band members. There's parents of new guitarists and bassists. There's people who can answer questions. There's just a lot of love in this place. Love of music, love of guitars, love of bass. I call it FretCon. I'm trying to get it together for 2024. For more details, check out fretcon.org. If you want to be a presenter, a vendor, a founding member, or just be a part of the fun, check out fretcon.org. FretCon.
And if you're riding when you're listening to this, you can find the links to everything I've said in the show notes.
All right, my friends, that's it for this week. I want to thank you for listening, downloading, and subscribing to your favorite righteous podcast, Indian Motorcycle Radio. Now may the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon you. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the hollow of his hand. Kickstands up. Let's ride.